Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 12th regular meeting of Town Council. I'll just let everybody know that we have two councillors that are remote from home, and Councillor Rudick won't be attending. She is in Korea? I believe so, yep. So we're a little short-staffed, but we do have two councillors that are joining us via, it's not Zoom anymore, what are we calling it?
This would be remote meeting, or if the listening audience is so inclined, the name of the company is Confero Cloud.
There you go, Confero Cloud, something new. Okay, so we'll start off by a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Councillor Warwa makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up, the adoptions of the minutes of the last regular council meeting. Councillor Lemko makes the motions. Sorry, he made the motion first. Is there any errors or omissions within these minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Let everybody know we have a very short meeting tonight. We don't have a lot on the agenda. And then most of us are going over to the fire hall for their open house. So our first piece of correspondence is from the Vegreville Library Board, and it's further to the letter to you from the Northern Lights Library System dated August 31st, 2022. The Town of Vegreville Library Board at its meeting on September 28th, 2022 voted to endorse the Northern Lights Library System letter as it speaks so eloquently of one of the library's major challenges, irregular and inconsistent provincial funding increase. So the library here in town has asked for their support, and they are supporting the Northern Lights asked, and the letter was addressed to the Honourable Rick McIver. So I'll take a motion for receive and file. Councillor Berry makes the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, next up, Infrastructure Director, Planning and Development Director.
Thank you, Your Worship. Today's topic is disposal of town-owned assets. The following units are required to be disposed. We've got a list of Unit 29, 36, 46, 48, 51, 60, 64, 65, 259, 411, and 500. The proposed method of disposal is to offer them for sale. Revenues generated by the sale of these assets would be credited back to respective revenue accounts. Advertising, of course, will be done through our standard social media sites, some local traditional advertising, as well as reaching out outside of the community with bigger auction houses like Michelin Allen and Ritchie Brothers.
Okay, so can I get a motion for the request of council? Councillor Bullock makes a motion. Is there any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
Just curious, Director Lefebvre, so they can go up for auction, or they're not going to go up for auction, or they'll be by sealed bid, or?
This is a sealed bid auction on site, and it'd be held at our sanitary landfill gravel yard, is where we're going to hold it. Another point to make is that in very late 2019, we had taken another approximately 6 units, and council approved the disposal of those units. But of course, throughout the series of COVID and what's happened in the past couple of years, those items will now be added to these, and we'll set them up and release all the assets.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, no other comments? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And that's basically the business of the day, folks. So we'll move on to council reports, and we're going to start with Councillor Curtis.
Councillor Curtis may be having technical issues here.
Okay.
It seemed like his internet was a little spotty, so we'll maybe give him a second to see if his screen pops up. If not, it may just be a connection issue.
Okay, then let's move to Councillor Warwa.
Okay, so probably some of the similar ones as everyone else on the September 28th, and I had the strong coffee presentation followed by the managers' presentations. And I just wanted to say that it was very nice getting to see the managers, and they did a really good job. And it's, I hope they enjoyed it too. I know it's sometimes difficult to come forward and present in front of council, but it was something that I missed when it wasn't being done because we don't always get to interact with them that often. So I think it was very nice having them in. So on October 4th was the legislative meeting, and October 5th was budget. On the 7th, I got to attend the C1 incentive presentation, as well as our presentation for new plaque for the WR curbing. Again, I really like to be able to go out and see these businesses and applaud them when they're making efforts, and we sure obviously appreciate our businesses. We know that there's been a lot of struggles in the economy in the last little while, so I think now more than ever, it's really important that we're letting them know how much we appreciate having them in town. On the 9th, I got to go to the corn maze, certainly not for the hours ever as some of my fellow councillors, but we were working the concession, and I was pleasantly surprised. I thought with it being Thanksgiving weekend that it might be really quiet, and it actually was busier than I thought. Councillor Lemko was the barbecue king there, and kept us all in line, and everything was going, and it ended up just being an absolutely beautiful, warm weather day. So sure nice to see, and you know, the little kids they're pretty enthusiastic. Watching them do a few of the different activities than they had the year before was very nice. Football throw there seems to be quite the popular one, and the kids were running up with rocks, and it was just nice to see again. So, and then I also had tonight's council meeting, and that's what I got.
Thank you very much. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. 27th, the Corn Maze Committee is a volunteer. Also on the 28th, I took part of the Strong Coffee Marketing presentation and the managers' reports, and I'll echo that it was very nice to have the managers in, and they did an excellent job of reporting. On the 1st and 2nd, at the Corn Maze as a volunteer, and on October the 4th, Vegreville Community Health Service Awareness Meeting, and I'll come back to that in just a minute. The Ledge meeting on the 4th, budget planning on the 5th, Corn Maze volunteer again on the 8th and 9th, and tonight's regular council meeting. And the Vegreville Health Service Awareness Meeting, for the most part, I just sit there as a listener and learn from the various professionals in the healthcare groups as they share updates and perspectives amongst each other as to just how things are going in Vegreville in particular, but in the Empton area and provincial. I'm not speaking on behalf of them. I want that to be understood, but I will share a few interesting points that did come up that I think are of public interest. St. Joseph Hospital remains to be very busy. It has had a reduction in patients waiting for placement, though, which is good. The ER has been overly busy, and they pointed out that roughly 1/3 of the visits that come to the emergency visits right now should really be seen at the clinic. And I suppose that possibly brings up the matter of that it's not as easy to get a clinic appointment right now because we are still waiting to get a full allotment of doctors on staff. It is common throughout rural Alberta that when doctors complete their contract, they tend to leave and head for the cities, particularly Edmonton and Calgary. So it's, even though we do have a retention and attraction committee, it is difficult for us to convince them to stay and remain here when there's lucrative city appointments available. Thing that I was noted on this is that they have managed to get Dr. Philip, and I'm going to say Dr. Philip. he started seeing patients. In fact, I'll see him on the 20th because I'm switching over to his practice. And they have 2 more additional vacancies, and one of those is already at the interview stage for recruitment, and the other one is still in assessment. So the thing is that the clinic is where recruitment has to take place. It's not through our committee, which needs to be understood. It is the clinic, and it's a very long process for every vacancy. And they basically ran through it for us there the other day, which kind of surprised me. Each time there's a vacancy and a doctor is left, they actually have to redo an impact analysis and go through an approval review. And that's just before they can even post that they have a vacancy and they're trying to recruit. From that, they then have to do the interviews and get people on, and the doctor then has to go through a lengthy assessment period where he's actually working at a hospital and clinic that is not within Vegreville, and that's just an additional in-Alberta training system. So the unfortunate thing is right now it can take 6 to 9 months to replace a doctor. And I think that is something that needs to be worked on by the province to see if that, they want to talk about red tape. Well, I think this is one of them. Another area is EMS. It remains very, very busy right now. And what was noted there is that a considerable volume of transports are occurring where the patient doesn't actually require medical assistance. They basically, as it was put to us, they get a call up, the ambulance appears there, the individual walks out, climbs onto the ambulance, and gets a transfer to another facility. And this is being pointed out that this is where these transports can really be done by an alternate process called NAT vans. So it's non-ambulance transfer resources. And if we could get more of this sort of transportation going in the province, then that would free up the ground resources for the ambulances who are actually transporting somebody who needs medical attention en route. So I think that those are a couple of important things that I learned out of this, that, and it goes to show to some extent the importance of VTSS here in town even, when they transport patients to medical appointments and et cetera. So it's that sort of, we often call them handy vans or, you know, but there needs to be a better alternate transportation system than full-fledged ambulances. So that's what I got out of that meeting there, along with a lot of other very interesting tidbits. But that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Berry. And I know there is a lot of challenges when doctors' contracts do run out in rural communities. They run to the city, but I want to bring up how lucky we have been.
Yes.
With the local doctors and how they've integrated right into our community, and
Yes.
and they're always involved in everything, every fundraiser in town, and you know, raise their families here. So we're very lucky to have the main core of doctors that we've had in our community.
And we're very lucky that we've got another one that has just come on, another one that's in process, and a third one that is being posted. So it should not be that long before we're back to full complement of doctors in town.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Is Councillor Curtis ready?
We can give them a try. I believe they're both Councillor Curtis and Councillor Bullock are standing by. If their mics aren't on, you won't be able to. There we go. There's Councillor Curtis. Councillor Curtis, can you just give us a quick hello just to make sure you're coming in okay? We can't see you, but we see you appear on the screen at the very least.
Okay, let's go to Councillor Bullock.
Hello? Hello, everyone can hear me?
We certainly can, Councillor.
Okay, all right. So we'll start off with September 28th. I also attended the Strong Coffee Marketing well as the manager presentations, which was really good to see the managers face to face and see what their concerns and what they're looking at, what's going to help them. October 5th, budget planning meeting. Also on October the 5th, attended Chamber of Commerce board meeting and a few things coming up with them. So actually tomorrow they're holding a social media workshop. So I don't know if it's possibly maybe sometime if you call the chamber early in the morning and take part in that one. Also Small Business Week. Salute to Small Business Barbecue is going to be happening on October 21st, and you need to let the chamber know by October 14th to pre-register. This event is let them know by the end of the day on the 14th, and it's open to all business owners and staff in the town of Vegreville. So it's just appreciation of all the small businesses in the town of Vegreville. So you want to attend that event if you have a chance. It's between 11:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. on the October 14th. Also another thing coming up on October 21st, the Chamber Christmas Arts and Crafts Sale coming up in conjunction with Vegreville Christmas on Saturday, November 19th. So those are the things happening with the Chamber right now. Following that, I attended on October 6th Read-In Week at Ale Horton School as a guest reader for the fantastic grade 6 class. And a shout out to them. What a great bunch of students they were. I heard some laughing, some giggling, but they were paying attention. And they were really surprised to hear that one of their teachers, Ray Shrook, was one of my teachers back when I was in elementary. He taught me Ukrainian. So that was really interesting. And I opened up the floor to the kids at the end of that reading. And I got a lot of interesting questions from them asking me certain things. So, from how old you are to some real touching questions, that hit you in the heart right there. So, we always got to remember, mental health goes deep, goes way into our children as well. What happens, certain tragedies in life, they carry on, and the kids can carry into school. So we always got to keep an open heart and keep a hug out there for all our kids. As well, on October 7th, C1 incentive presentation at Vegreville Liquor Store. As well, October 7th, Double R Curbing, new business recognition. October 8th and 9th, as well as some of the other counselors. We all were at Vegreville Corn Maze. Beautiful weekend again. And lots of people showed up on the Sunday. And it was interesting. They were coming from every direction you could imagine. And as of October 12th, today, CAL's Association meeting. So some of the key highlights there was the Head Start program. It's actually subscribed to 27 students right now. So 26 of them have been funded. So really important program for CALs in the town of Vegreville. Also family literacy. Books for Babies started on October 30th, or October 3rd, sorry. Running out of the Heyday studio, and the program is full with a late wait list. The Bear Bag started on October 5th in partnership with the Vegreville Centennial Library. The program is full with a wait list. Mess Makers started October 6th in partnership with the Sunshine Club. And Family Literacy has reached out to Vegreville Learning to partner providing programming for Ukrainian families new to the area. So with guidance from Vegreville area stands with Ukraine, family programming is not what is needed at the moment. CALS will maintain contact with the group. So CALS is a very important organization for this community. We are so lucky to have them to be part of it. And if anyone doesn't know about them and you have young families, you'll want to check into CALS. And tonight's council meeting, and that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bullock. We'll go to Councillor Lemko. Have we contacted Councillor Curtis at all, or?
He's attempted to juice up the internet speed. So we'll see if this works. We see him on the screen, but no video. So this was the same situation we ran into. Councillor Curtis, can you just give us a quick hello? Yeah, it must be a connection issue on his end, unfortunately. So.
Okay, we'll come back to Councillor Lemko. We'll give his report next.
Thank you, Your Worship. September 27th, I attended the Vegreville Vegreville Corn Maze committee meeting where we discussed the upcoming weekend and the moving forward with the maze for the weekend. So the 27th, I also went to the Vegreville and Area Stands with Ukraine committee meeting, committee that I've been liaising with council and the committee itself. I must say that this committee was working tirelessly at addressing the needs of those Ukrainians who have settled in our community and who are reaching out to settle in the community. We had a family arrive last night. We're looking right now at about 27 families have moved to our community, and there's more coming. We're having Ukrainians from Ukraine contacting us to want to come to Vegreville, and this committee is working to find furniture, locations to stay, residences, and continues to fundraise and do all those things. So kudos to them. They are working tirelessly, trying to meet the needs of those people. So my hat goes off to the committee. The 28th, Strong Coffee marketing presentation, along with the budget meeting and the managers' presentations. It's nice to see the managers present, and we were able to ask them questions, and in return, they can ask and present their cases to us. So it's nice to have them back in the room again. The 29th, I attended story time, coffee with a counselor at the Vegreville Centennial Library. It starts at about 10:30 when you can read stories to children, and hopefully they listen. And if not, you get to watch them play with their books and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, they're quite inquisitive and ask a lot of questions about the book you're reading. And then after that, coffee with the counselor. And sometimes there's one counselor, sometimes there's two, and people can come sit down there and ask questions freely, and hopefully they get the answers they want to hear. October 1st and 2nd, the Vegreville Corn Maze. The weekend, October 3rd, I attended the Vegreville Tourism Advisory Board, and I was hoping Justin, Councillor Curtis, as the chair of that committee, was going to present, but I can just touch on a few things. We talked about the Main Street trick-or-treat event, which unfortunately will not happen this year. The Chamber has decided that they weren't going to be running it this year for their own reasons, and so it won't happen this year. We also talked about the Vegreville Corn Maze at length regarding this is probably, and looking at probably the last year that this will run under the current model that's there. The committee is small, 5 or 6 people on this committee, 3 of which are members of town council, 1 a town employee as well, and then 2 other volunteers within the community. And that's 6 weekends plus all the meetings leading up to that. And as much as we want to, we don't have any volunteer groups that want to step up and take over the maze. So a lot of strategy has to be talked about, as the Corn Maze is part of the Vegreville Tourism Advisory Board, a committee of that board. So the committee, the Corn Maze committee, will meet, have some strategies. They'll bring that back to the tourism board, who then will have some initiatives or thoughts brought forward back to council to determine what next steps are. So in saying that, please do come out this weekend to the maze. It's the Field of Screams. Put costumes on, come out there. Pierogies and jam will be there. The petting zoo, the rock hunt. There's go-karts, bouncy castle. There's Hitchmaster's wagon rides. The Bale Mountain, although it's now a hill. Henna tattoos are there. The library stole. The museum's opened. The concession will be run by the Borscht Social Guild, pierogies and sausage. So come on out to that this coming weekend. I did attend the Ledge meeting on the 4th, October 5th, again, another budget planning meeting. The 7th, along with other councillors at the C1 incentives, our curbing presentation. And the Corn Maze on the weekend, cooking burgers, and tonight's council meeting. That's my report, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Lemko, and just want to take my hats off to the Corn Maze Committee, and I know that it's been a lot of work, and it does a lot for our community, but it just can't be just run by some counselors and another volunteer here in town. So hopefully there'll be some nonprofit that's willing to step up and get involved in this. But again, thanks for your report. And we have Councillor Curtis.
Let's try this one more time. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
There we go, okay. All right, I'll get into my report before this goes awry again. So again, on September 28th, I had the manager presentations. October 3rd, I had the VTAB meeting, and thank you, Councillor Lemko, for picking up for me there. I have a few other notes from the meeting that I can go over. Just regarding the usage of the, our Elk Kinsman Park. We got some stats here on the borrow a bike. So in total this year was borrow a bike was used 113 times, which was up from 68 in 2021, as well as our borrow a boat, 553, which is up from 495. And we did have some mechanical issues. We were down a boat or two for a while, so I imagine that would have even been higher. And as well, the VIC did, they surveyed some tourists. They had about 719 surveys done. And they asked them just general questions for why everybody was there. And right around 50% still of people coming to see the Pysanka, so that's the main draw. And 16% was family and friends, 13% was stop for services, 11% was for specific events, and 7% of people came to work. So just a few stats from that. As well, on October 4th, we had the ledge meeting, budget planning meeting on the 5th, C1 incentive and double our curbing on the 7th, and then tonight's council meeting. That's all for me.
Thank you very much, Councillor Curtis. So I guess that leaves me, right? So I've attended all the same meetings as council, regular meetings and budget meetings. Was a nice presentation from the Strong Coffee Marketing Group, and trying to help us plan out what our social media next steps will be and what our goals will be there. I really enjoyed the manager's presentation, and I want to thank all the council, because I'm sure that the managers were a little intimidated coming in, but I think that we were very welcoming, and they could see that we do get along fairly well, and we made it fun for everybody. It can be a long, drawn-out process, the budget process, and I want to just thank everybody up to now. Everything's been going good, and admin has brought us a lot of good information, so thank you for that, and hopefully we can get something done before the end of the year. I luckily went to read the library, but Councillor Lemko had already stepped in, and so I ran out the door as fast as I could. And I want to thank you for that. On the 29th, I had a meeting of John Espatouk, and the ledge meeting on the 4th, budget planning on the 5th. I've had a few conversations with our infrastructure director, Director Lefebvre, and I've had one conversation with Inca in the last week, and we're trying to align how we're going to set up for the Canadian Hemp Alliance conference in Saskatoon coming up. I have fielded many phone calls over the last few weeks, and hopefully everything went. Everybody got the answer that the council, the decisions that we've made in the past and why we did them. I'm sure they weren't all happy because they didn't get the answers they wanted, but I made sure that they knew why the decisions were made. And on Thursday, September the 29th, I got to go to the Public Works office for coffee and donuts. And one of our longtime employees, Randy Seba, retired, and I've known Randy for 34 years. And it was nice that everybody showed up, and I know that Randy really liked it, and I just want to wish Randy and Natalie well in their future, whatever they plan on doing. So, and I thanked on behalf of the citizens of town and all the councils that he's helped get through with his services. So that's my report for today. Councillor Bullock,
Yep.
you said 2 dates for the very Christmas. You said October 21st is the barbecue, and then you said it again, and then did you say that it would be in November?
Sorry, the small business barbecue is October 21st.
Yeah,
The Christmas arts and craft sale, November 19th.
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. Okay, so that being said, is there any other business of council? Well, seeing no hands in the air, then I adjourn this meeting at 7:31. That has got to be a record. The firemen should be excited. We're all gonna get there with 100 questions. Thank you very much. Councillor Bullock and Councillor Curtis, I just want to talk to you about a change of a date